Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. This one is a special report. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the RSI Constellation. And just in case you don't know, I am Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. So welcome into my hangar once again. You can see my latest two in-hangar purchases over there, the MIS and the MAX in the background. And right in front of me is the RSI Constellation. Why am I doing this today? Well, to be honest, it's mainly because I want to have a review of one of the original 5 ships before they actually receive their updates. And I've done that for the Aurora, I've done that for the 300i, and I've done that for the Hornet. Currently, I should say I've done it for the Freelancer also. Currently, those 4 vessels all have the variants released, they all have their brochures released, and their commercials released, and they've had limited ship sales. The limited editions of each one of the previous ones, for the Aurora, it was the LX, for the 300, it was the 350R, for the Hornet, it was the F7CM Super Hornet, which I am giving away on this show, so make sure you share this, like it, and snap me some screenshots and send it to the addictedgamer@gmail.com. And then here we are with the Freelancer in the background, and that MIS sitting right there was the limited ship. Limited ships are not guaranteed to be sold all the time. Think of them like a Disney movie. They come out, you buy them, and then they disappear into a vault somewhere until they're brought out again for another limited sale. So, if you're thinking about what to do next month when this ship is updated, my best recommendation would be to save the money for whatever the limited ship variant is going to be. You could always melt it and buy a different variant, but if you're unsure of whether to get this or a variant that's going to be around for a while, grab the limited ship when it comes out. So this is the original Constellation. There's a couple of things that are missing from the model right now, one of them being the P-52 Merlin that goes in that under area over there. And another thing over here is the actual working turrets. You can get up and in them, but you can't spin them around. But at different times in the last year, well, 8 months that the hangar module's been out, we've actually been able to see the ship P-52 in the bottom of our cargo area, and we were also able to work the turrets. So as hangar patches have come out, we've lost some functionality here. So let's talk about what the Constellation is. The Constellation right now is listed as a multi-role ship. And I think that's because there really is no specific role for the Constellation. It's kind of a cross between a, I could see a general's staff ship or maybe a command and control ship. Something that doesn't actually go right up to the front line but just sits behind it, directing the different ships in a battle. I also think that this one would make a great blockade runner. The reason being, it's supposed to be wicked fast. It's got what I believe up there right now are 4 TR6 engines max. It's going to ship with TR5s, but you could put the TR6s on there. So it's going to be really fast, and it's armed to the teeth. With all those M4As and lots of Class 3 spots, you have the 2 turrets in the front, you have a P-52 that's launched from the rear of it eventually, but in this variant it was launched from the cargo bay. So this thing would make an amazing blockade runner, running goods back and forth between contested territories. And I'm not talking about pirate runs, I'm talking about maybe medical supplies into a besieged planet, something along those lines. I also see this as being a very capable light starship, heavy fighter. I'm trying to think of what to call it. Back in World War II, that would be the P-61 Black Widow. It was a night fighter that had a multi-crew, and it kicked butt. It was pretty much there to take out bombers and ships in the ocean, and it was a beautiful plane. And if you need to see what that is, just Look it up. Wikipedia it. So let's take a walk around the ship just for a second, and let's point out some of the key features that are going to be in it. This whole area over here is the cockpit area. Something actually articulates up here to give the cockpit more of an all-round view. Okay? This is 480 freight units, so it's going to have a huge amount of cargo in a cargo variant. It's got a crew of 4. It's got a max power plant size of 6. It has a factory power plant that's going to be a YTEC HF R2 Plus, and that is a Tier 5. It has 4 Tier 6 engine mounts, which I believe are going to be installed if we go with the ship specs that are surely to change in a few weeks. But they'll be installed with the Hammer Propulsion HE 5.5 TR5s. You have 8 TR3 maneuvering thrusters here, and there'll be the 8 Hydra Propulsion M3 150s. This is going to be a highly maneuverable vessel. You think that the Cutlass for its size is going to be maneuverable. For the size that this ship is going to be, this is going to be incredibly maneuverable. It's a huge ship, much bigger than the Super Hornet that's back there, and still this thing is going to be maneuverable for its size. Alright, and the shield is going to ship with a size 5, but the max size is 6, and that's going to be the Bearing 6S7A. Alright, so as far as weapons go, we've talked about the M4A lasers over there. So you've got 8 S4, wait, sorry about that. We have 4 S4 nacelles all having a M4 or M5A laser cannon on it. I keep getting these wrong. Do you see these cannons over here? They're at the top. Alright, and they're at the bottom over here. These are actually M5As. They're not M4s or M3s. The M4s are the ones on my Super Hornet. The M3s are the one on my Aurora in there. And these are M5s, so they're going to be huge. They're going to need that power plant, the size 6 power plant that this thing could go up to. Not happy with the texturing of the current variant. I can't wait to see it. It just looks like my ship is very dirty and beaten up, doesn't it? Look at that. Look at all the scratches on it. It's like, I know how to fly. I'm not scratching everything as I come in. Alright, so you're going to have 2 8X S4 Class 3 mounts and 4 custom mounts. The custom mounts, I believe, are going to be the ones that swing out like wings and are all ready to fire. And they're up in that area up there. If I could add in some arrows in my video, I will do so. The engines are fully articulating and they swing out somewhat. The 2 of the engines pivot in the yaw axis, and 2 of them pivot in the pitch axis, giving it increased maneuverability. Looking at the back of the ship, in a few weeks, we're going to be seeing a different area back here. This is going to receive one of the most, well, this is going to be the area that's going to be most changed. The P52 is going to go here. Currently in the model that we see, the prototype, the P52 is installed in the area right in front of us. And essentially what happens is the P52 is lowered from the area above us and then can go and fly out into action. Later on, what's going on is that there will be a P52 that will be attached back here, and there will be a little hatch that leads up to the engine compartment where the pilot can actually enter into the ship. There will also be what looks like a clamp that will come down and come around it to help protect the P52 from incoming fire, along with the shields from the bigger ship. This is just a beautiful ship, is it not? Love it. So we also have a RSI jump engine. So this is definitely jump capable out of the gate, and it better be for its size. I'm going to be looking to use mine for space exploration until I can get my hands on an Anvil Carrack, but I think this one is going to be a beautiful ship. As we do our walk around, there's another M5 up top, there's another M5 over there, there's a missile launcher, there's a missile launcher. So we've got a missile launcher and an M5 on each one of the engine nacelles. And then of course, right in that area, right in there, I think that's where it comes out, we have the wings that swing out and are able to fire a ton of missiles. Alright, as we come around, this is the lower compartment that's housing the turret right now. And up here is the cockpit that has stations for 4 people. Now, something to explain here. A lot of these say max crew is 4. That might be max crew, but that's not the maximum people that could fit on the ship. The ship is probably going to be able to hold a lot more. And the reason I say that is there's room for a lot more people on this ship. Here we are entering into the cockpit area where our science areas and our displays and everything are already stowed. These are going to be stowable and be able to come out. This over here, it deploys our kitchen table. At least it's supposed to. And I guess we're having issues with the seat. I'm going to have to call the handyman to fix that. Or just wait for the update. Lots of different compartments and storage and displays that are going to be over here. Up forward, we have a couple more displays here, holding, I guess they're holding patterns, whatever you want to call it. It's just an asset holding, they're placeholders, sorry. You've got a really nice view up here, but right now, because the engine nozzles and everything are really close, again, I believe that this area actually will be not pushed forward, but the pieces over here will be recessed back. So we'll have a full view. And let's get into the cockpit and see what it's like. Alright, so here we are in the cockpit, getting in the captain's chair and spinning around. Now this ship, if you are a Star Trek fan, think Defiant, okay? Lieutenant Commander Worf's ship that he would take and help protect Deep Space Nine in. It was a beautiful ship, wasn't it? So I would say think that. Heavily armed, really small, very maneuverable, heavy shields, able to kick butt and take a wallop back. Not overpowered, just fulfilling a need. Beautiful view over here. If I hit the insert key, I could get an outside view, rear view that makes no sense, and back into this view. I guess they're working on views because of Arena Commander. They still don't have separate controls for Arena Commander and the hangar. That is something that will come later on. So since I can't show you what I normally do, we're just going to get out of it. And we're going to go and push one of the buttons over here. This is one of the first places that we were given buttons. And we are going to push the button for the upper turret, because the lower turret doesn't make any sense right now. I can't get in it. Oh, there we go. Nope. Not finding it an easy task to get into this turret. So there are a lot of things that were messed up in the last patch, and obviously Arena Commander takes precedence over a ship that's about ready to be updated. So the best I could say is we're not going to be able to get into the turret that's surely to be more updated in the coming weeks. But we can get into the lower turret, which is totally weird that I can get into one but not the other. You'll see how the clamshell swoops away and then the turret is deployed down. And this is the thing that I have a problem with. There should be no orientation in space. Right now, I can't see the ships that are below me or above me that I should be hitting. If you watched Star Wars and saw when Luke and Han jump into the turrets, one's sitting, they're kind of sitting in opposite directions, so both of them are sitting on the top of the ship. And that's what I envision for this. I'm wondering how they're going to make that happen. I hope it gets done so that this is flipped around. So we're going to come out of the turret now that we know how they work. And that clamshell coming around is exactly what's going to be happening with the P-52 Merlin that is in the back of this ship. So textures and everything have been updated here over the last few months. I guess PBR has really done a good job at showing things in this ship. Again, a lot of things that are broken. I can't believe a ship would be this shiny inside. It would hurt your eyes if anyone turned on a light, but that's pretty cool. I'm not going to complain since I love it. This is your primary cargo area right now. However, the area where the P-52 would be, down there, will be a cargo area in the future, I believe. If you come back here, you have airlocks there, an airlock there, and nothing on the top or bottom, which is unusual. I would have expected one on top or bottom too. You also have what I could only imagine look like jump seats. And you're asking me, why would I have jump seats? Space Marines, baby. Starship Troopers. Think those, think things like that. This over here, I guess I have no idea what that is. It looks like the Thunderbolts symbol. And over here, right, lots of things that are like high voltage. Are they having? Nope. They got texturing right. They both say it. So you have a lot of room for cargo, lots of space, but please, this area that we're in right here, when I was in CIG headquarters in Santa Monica, and Chris let me take a look at the updated version, I got to see the rear of this. And the question was posed, where did I think the crew quarters should be? Back or front? I kind of had a different way of thinking about it. The biggest reason was the area back here is no longer going to be like this, or supposedly it's not going to be like this. Let's open these up so you know what I'm talking about. These are the sleeping quarters. They were just here. It was pretty much, they were placeholders here just to show you that they were going to have it. And of course this, don't look in the mirror because it messes up everything, so we're not going to look in the mirror. But back there where the bathroom is, there's going to be an engine room, and then you're going to be able to get to the P-52 that way. So knowing that there's an engine room back here, and that they wanted to have cargo here, should they leave the crew quarters back here? Crew quarters, and then engine room behind it. And my issue was, well, I don't see that as being useful, because nobody wants to walk through. If I've got crew in here, say I'm carrying 3 to 5 other people, maybe 6 total, and if this was a realistic ship in real life, you wouldn't want to walk through the cargo area to get to your rack, which is right in front of the engine room, which is definitely going to be loud. That would be kind of crazy, right? So we don't know what's going to happen here, but hopefully I'm smart enough to get some images from Sandy's Facebook page to put in here on one of the variants that they're working on and what it looks like. It looks like a luxury liner. So here we are inside of the ship, looking in the cargo area. We've got the cargo area down there. So you get an idea of, here's the space to put the cargo on these ramps right here, on this ramp right here. My issue is, if this is where the cargo goes, here, all this room, do you really need down there? 480 cargo units is immense. I mean, for this ship. I definitely want mine decked out with all science, science labs and maybe a med center back here. Things so I can go on a long-range, science mission, long-range exploration. Alright, we can't get in these other seats, but what I can do is walk over here and look back. Alright? This is the largest ship you can get into right now and walk around. The Freelancer Max is a close second. This was one of the first 5 ships that came out, and definitely the one that Chris Roberts sees as being his favorite. He talks about it with love every single time he mentions it. The Constellation is going to be a mainstay of space around most of the UEE worlds. We're going to see a lot of these in the hands of citizens, backers, pledgers, along with the Retaliator, of course, being the other big ship, and from what I know, probably bigger than this at this point. But this is a true science vessel. It's a true long-range pleasure yacht. I don't know what to say. It's got so many different things that you can do in here. I'd love to hear what your, if you could write a variant of the Constellation, what would you want it to be? I think that this ship in the hands of everybody but pirates, right? Because A, it's way too expensive for pirates to use for what they're doing. And B, we gotta have one ship that's really cool and not in the hands of the bad people of the world, right? So, down below, just to give me an idea of what you think, what is the variant you would create if you were in charge of the Constellation project? So, I think that's all I got for this. The Constellation itself, beautiful ship, about ready to be updated. Can't wait to see the updates. They are going to be kick butt. But I just had to get in here and look at every square inch of it while we're waiting for RSI to inevitably look at us from the screen and say, we have a ship sale for you. And the $225 to $300 RSI Constellation goes up for sale yet again. Well, that's all I have for today, folks. Thank you for listening. You all be safe out there, and goodbye.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous.
It's been a long
I am
time
Nikki
since
Batgirl
I actually
D'Angelo,
did
and this
say
is
that online.
episode 34.
This is Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo, the original
Yes, I'm
Addicted
calling it
Gamer.
Getting It
I
Done
ran
because
that
it's
podcast
34
way back
episodes of
in,
something I started
I believe
as a
it was
hobby,
2007,
something I started
2008,
only
where I
to
got
do
to
for a couple of shows,
interview
to learn
many
how
people
to
like the
stream videos,
developers
to
of
learn
indie
how
games
to
and
record
players of
videos. So my
multiplayer online
sons,
games back
who
then.
haven't done it at all
Anything
yet,
from, well,
can
you get
record
the idea.
their
It was
Battlefield
quite a
and Call of
wonderful
Duty Ghost
podcast,
games
and I
and put
got
them
to
up on
interview
YouTube.
such wonderful
Lo and
people.
behold, I
But
bought
what are we
new
talking
cameras
about
and
that
microphones
for?
and built
Well,
a green screen
because
studio
I have been
and
the Addicted Gamer
have
for so long.
820
I am trying to
subscribers
spread
now
my addiction
on
to all
something
of
that's
you.
no more than
So
a
the
hobby.
other day
Well,
when
it is
I
more
was
than a
doing
hobby. It's
my
kind
look
of an
back,
obsession
the Back
now.
to the Future
I love
episode
I'm obsessed
of my
with
Let's Pew
looking
Pew
into the
with
game and bringing you
Batgirl,
content each
I
week and talking